Hello everyone. Welcome back to whatever this is, because it's not a cozy corner. Today, I'm gonna not fall out this window. I'm gonna be answering 4 of my most asked questions about travel. Currently in Salzburg, this is my last day of my trip. It's been 3 weeks and I am ready to go home. I am yearning for American soil and ranch and iced beverages. There's like no ice here. They don't believe in it, and they also don't believe in drinking water. The first question I get asked all the time is, how do I travel so much? I am currently per diem at the hospital I work at, and also my in-home patient. I am very blessed. They're very go with the flow and understanding of being young and wanting to travel, so they let me kind of go when I need to go. Financially, I work 2 jobs. Sometimes I babysit, if you count that as a 3rd job. So that's how I end up traveling so much. Second question I have on my list, how do I pick where to travel to? So I started traveling abroad by myself in high school, and that was with a program, so that kind of like eased me into it. And then my second international travel, abroad travel, was also through a program, but I flew by myself to the program, so that was also kind of easing me into it. My first programmed trip was Haiti, and then Africa was 2 years ago as a medical intern with a program. Last spring, I went with my mom, and then last October, I did a complete solo trip to Europe again. My secret in picking where to go is who I know and where they live. This current trip, I was in Italy with friends who know the area, and then from there, I'll pick a country or town that's within 4 hours of train travel, and I'll go there. How do I solo travel? I credit this a lot to how I was raised. If you're too trusting, you shouldn't travel alone. If you cannot go with the flow, I would not travel alone. Things happen. Trains are late, trains get canceled, flights get delayed. There's so many things that could go wrong, and if you're not patient and calm, you will get very overwhelmed. I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed figuring out new subway stations, train stations, bus stations. I know for me, I've downloaded the apps for the subways for each country that I'm in, so I can kind of look at it a little bit before and navigate. If you aren't aware of your surroundings, I wouldn't solo travel. I was raised to be very vigilant, very aware, always plan worst case scenario. I know that sounds bad, but I feel like sometimes situations are avoidable if we are being completely aware of what's around us. So I'm constantly noting who I've been around, who faces I'm seeing more than once, who's walking too closely behind me, all those little things as I'm traveling. You have to walk around each destination like you've already been there and you know the place. Don't look confused. I almost never ask someone for help unless I'm absolutely desperate. I'm sure I have once or twice. When I'm using public transportation, I do not speak unless spoken to, and maybe that's just me being dramatic, but if you're in a crowded train or bus or subway with people who do not speak English, or maybe don't like people who speak English or Americans, I just don't speak unless spoken to, because otherwise they have no idea that I'm American. Because I've had people in different countries come up to me speaking their language, asking me for directions. People don't like Americans. It's kind of a thing. They think we're dumb, but whatever. I always have an itinerary planned out before I even kind of leave the country. This kind of goes into the next question, how do I plan like my solo parts of the trip? I'll give an example from this past trip. This is a week of my solo travel. So last Monday I left for my cousin's. I picked Füssen, Germany, which was a 4-hour train ride. I pick a town. I Google what's in this town, like what are activities, what's to see, history in this town. I pick, depending how long I'm in that town, probably 1 to 2 activities per day. It's exhausting. Traveling abroad is exhausting. This is not a vacation. I think at most I'm walking 8 to 9 miles a day. For example, last Tuesday I had booked tickets before to the Neuschwanstein Castle, and my tip, I think everyone would think this, the earlier you go, the less people there will be, the less commotion, the easier it is to just get in, do what you need to do, and get out. So I planned to get to the castle by 8:30. I had a timed entry, and then that was my one activity for that day, and then I just explored the old town. If it's a travel day, I don't plan an booked activity for wherever I'm arriving to, because I did that in the past and it's too stressful to try to figure out if your train will make it, if it won't make it, check in, blah blah blah. This past trip on travel days, I would just get to the hotel and my activity would be exploring the Old Town. Everywhere I went this solo trip has had Old Town strips that I just explore on my own. The only stressful part about traveling is the transportation, because everything relies on trains, trams, subways, buses. And Munich train, everything situation confused me for the first time for a little bit. I don't know, it's massive and everything's in one place. So their main trains, their trams are their subways, the buses. I'm at the end of the trip, so I'm over it right now. It can be boring sometimes. Like today, I had one activity in the morning. I was done by 1 o'clock. I got lunch. Then I came back to the hotel room to just relax and do whatever. I just went and got coffee. I have no other plans. It's Sunday. Everything's closed. I leave tomorrow. So if you guys have any more questions, I don't really know what other things to answer that I can think of. Pack light. Not everywhere has escalators, not everywhere has elevators. You're going to be lugging everything upstairs for a majority of European travels. Actually, Munich was the only place I was like, wow, they have escalators here, so I wasn't dying. I don't know, this is just me personally. I try not to dress flashy. I don't want people looking at me. You might be saying, Gwen, you're so paranoid. Like, it can't be that dangerous. I could just say, if you're too trusting, you're going to get into some sticky situations. I do not go out in the dark when I'm alone. When I'm with friends, we go out, whatever. I race the clock with the sunset. I want to be in my room. The sun's been setting around like 8:45, 8:55 here. So I know every day that I should be making my way back by like 8 o'clock basically, because I do not want to be walking at night alone. I don't know, whatever. Love solo travel. I think everyone should do it. Everyone needs to learn to be independent and lean on themselves and kind of push your boundaries. To just exist on your own for a second and rely on no one else is really, I think, really important. So I'd encourage you to do that. I hope you're inspired and you pursue your solo travel dreams. I am beyond blessed. Trust me, I do not take a single second of these trips for granted. I never imagined myself being able to travel this young. It was always something I saw in the future, but God has made it possible. He's made a way somehow financially. He's provided. So that's all for now. I love you guys, and I will see you in the States.